So we know that Ram said to the narrator that how the narrator's stories have changed Ram's life. Now Ram begins to tell the story which affected his life. Ram tells, once in a village there were many poor people who wanted to cross the desert to go to the next village where life was better. Which people? The village of a which people? The poor people from one village. What they wanted to do? They wanted to cross the desert. For what? To go to the next village. Why? Because their life was better. Okay. The elder said to those that pick up the stones from the desert and carry them to the town. Who said? The elder said. To whom? To all those poor people who wanted to cross the desert in order to go to another town. One morning, two boys started their journey. In the beginning, the journey was great. After some time, sun rose over their head and sand started getting hot. First, the journey was good. Then, sun was over their head and sand started getting hot. Okay. After walking for a long time, they thought they must have reached the edge of the desert. They walked for so long that they thought, okay, we have now reached the desert's end. So they drank and ate all the water and food. Why? Because they thought that we have reached the end. Soon they realized they have walked. Okay, this is not walked only halfway. They have walked only halfway. They also collected stones. One boy returned because he could not bear any more walking, but the other boy continued to walk. What kept him going? Faith and hope kept him going. He had faith in the words of the elders and he was hoping that something good will happen. So he decided to spend the night in a dharmshala. Next morning, what happened? He opened his bag and found that all stones have turned into diamonds. And he had become a millionaire. The story ends here. The story was told by the narrator to the boys previously, and now Ram repeated the same story to the narrator. Okay, so what is the moral of this story? The moral is a student's life is like a desert. Examinations are the hot sun, difficulties are like warm sand, and study is like hunger and thirst. As a student, you have to travel all alone, collecting knowledge and skill. The way the boys in the story collected stones. The more you collect, the better your life will live. Ram learned this from the story. What did Ram learn from this story? This entire paragraph. Okay, this is what Ram learned from this story. Who told this story? The narrator told this story to Ram. Ram learned from this story and Ram applied this moral in his life. And finally, Ram now owns a garage and Ram is telling this story to the narrator now that, ma'am, you told this story to us and this changed my life. After listening to this story, Ram decided what? To study hard in spite of all difficulties. The service station owner where these two boys, Ram and Gopal, used to work, what happened? He helped Ram with the money, and Ram did automobile diploma. Now Gopal tried to do things beyond the capacity and he failed miserably. The narrator was dumbstruck on hearing everything. She silently saluted the person whose story she used to read to the boys. Who saluted whom? The narrator saluted whom? To the person whose story narrator used to read. Read to whom? To Ram and Gopal. When? On Saturday evening, when the narrator used to visit the service station, when Ram and Gopal were very small boys at that time. The narrator never imagined that how small stories like this could change someone's life so much. So whose life is changed here? Ram's life. How? Because Ram applied this moral in his life, and he became successful. He completed his studies, he worked very hard, and after applying this model, he is a successful person now. Okay, so this is what we have to learn from this story, that a student's life is like desert. There will be problems, there will be difficulties, there will be examinations, but all through you have to walk just like the boy who walked through the desert. So a journey through the desert is a journey of a student in his life, that he have to cross, that he have to cross the desert, just like this boy crossed the desert. And after gathering all the knowledge, you have to reach the destination. And as the boy became millionaire, as because he listened to the elders and collected all the stones, similarly, if a student collects knowledge all through the journey of his life, of his student life, then he will also have a better and good and better and maybe the best future that person can have. This is what we have to learn from this story.